Thank you, Bev, in PowHer New York. First, I would like to say, as a licensed nurse that's not actually practicing, I want to personally thank all the healthcare workers on the front line fighting this epidemic. And I also like to paraphrase a statement from our CEO, Kim Churches of AAUW, on the COVID-19 pandemic. She said, it's creating a shift in our lives and in our economy. Our hearts go out to everyone impacted by the virus in this crisis. AAUW is doubling down on our efforts to fight for the economic security of American women and their families, as we've done for over the past 140 years, Beverly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took it from your website.
These issues we've been fighting for are now very urgent. And of course, it's with low wage workers, which are mostly women, and again, with part-time workers, which is the majority women. We are confident that this crisis will eventually lessen and we can move on with society and move forward and taking on the fight of insecurities of women. So today, I would like to speak about the impact that African American women face with equal pay as it pertains to economic security of women, education, and the job market with African American women. Most of the information I'll be talking about and the data that I'm sharing comes from research that AAUW has done with the simple truth about the gender pay gap and deeper in debt. So African American women, I can't see the slides, but I'm gonna kind of paraphrase what's on the slides. African American women experience both the race and gender wage gap, which in intersectionality. They're confronted with very unique situations in the workplace. One, African American women are definitely devalued in the workplace. And then you have the biases of race and gender as well. We have the occupation segregation, that's an issue, and the resistance to structural changes, as well as the perceptions about the importance of the certain types of work that African American women endure. So just right off the top, the fight with race and gender automatically puts African American women at a disadvantage. And when we talk about being a disadvantage, we're always, most of the data looks and compares the statistics of African American women to white, non-Hispanic, Hispanic men, but also we're, as African American women, are at a disadvantage when it comes to African American men as well. So regardless of our education, the number of years of experience we have, or the type of job, how many, we're always at a disadvantage. And then when we talk about Equal Pay Day for African American women, early we said tomorrow officially we're celebrating for the average woman, but for African American women, we won't celebrate Equal Pay Day until August, which is an additional 8 months compared to white non-Hispanic men. So when it comes to economic security, women of color make up about 35% of the workforce. And some statistics say that the age for women of color in the workforce now is from 25 to 54 years of age. That's the biggest age gap right there. But even with that, and African American women, you know, having that much, that large of a percent in the workplace, we are still placed in those low paying jobs. And between 1997 and 2013, the statistics said that to get away from the low-paying jobs, we're looking at becoming entrepreneurs. And the percentage of African-American women-owned business has drastically increased to over 258% since 2013. So we're looking at owning business as a way out of getting out of the low disparities when it comes to equal pay. So moving on to education. Education is a factor. Although a high quality education is a prerequisite, African-American women are doing that, but also we're taking out student debt. We're going to school, getting educated, but we're taking on debt. And we take on more than 2/3 of the student debt. And because of that, we are having, again, hard time getting good jobs and a hard time repaying those debts back. Same thing in the job market. We are always stagnated in the careers because we're at those low paying jobs. And a lot of times African American women take on these jobs because it's a must be, must have to, due to their family situations at that time. And again, as Elisa said earlier, with the statistics, over the course of a lifetime of an African-American woman, she loses over 1.4 million in salaries compared to a man. So in concluding, AAUW is helping women to overcome these pay inequalities by learning how to negotiate your salary. So we are committed, AAUW is committed to training 10 million women to learn how to negotiate their salary. And you can start by doing that today by logging on, going online to salary.aauw.org and do that workshop online. Thank you